Oh, well, never mind. It's only our country. There it goes. There goes our country. Down the drain.
Bye-bye.
Never mind. It's a shame, innit? All right, thanks a lot, Matthew. Jane texts, Lulu Lotsadosh, or whatever their interior designer of family parties is called, would probably source them a fur-covered kettle in teal costing 400 quid, which they would all stand around and admire. Yeah, they wouldn't turn it on because, fur and steam don't mix. Omayeli tweets, thanks, Boris. The price of kettles is going to skyrocket. Good job I bought a new one before this crazy announcement. As mine cost just over 40 quid, does that mean I'll save £20 a year on my electricity bill or more? Yeah, no doubt. Jack says, I've given up on this country and government. Both candidates are transphobic. Oh, uh-oh.
Warning.
You're not going to drag me down that road. No way, Jose. Erith, Steve.
Hello.
Yes, Steve.
Let me just turn this off loudspeaker. Sorry. Okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm avoiding paying my water, and I'm gathering.
Wait a minute. Wait. You're avoiding what now?
Paying my water.
Oh, paying.
Bill. Yeah, paying. Sorry. And I'm gathering lots of evidence if they take me to court.
Evidence.
Yeah, like all the dividends they pay themselves.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You think that will work in a court of law? It's not fair.
No. No. I know I won't get away with anything.
No.
But I noticed that my favourite fish is mackerel. And
awful.
Yeah, I've stopped eating it though because
it doesn't taste very nice.
It does to me, but it's fished quite near to the coast.
Yes.
And
I see where you're going. I see where you're going with this.
I've not got material.
That's a very good point I think you're about to make. It's fished near to the coast of this country.
Disgusting.
Yeah. You don't want to eat that. You don't even want to get it on the bottom of your shoes.
No, it's similar to that because it's also with the people crossing the channel in dinghies. And I've noticed that I've got a map of my bits. The most polluted water stretch is the south coast along the English Channel.
Yeah, no doubt.
Where I think they may be pumping that out on purpose. I know they're doing it on purpose, but they're especially kind of
in order to repel the dinghy people.
Yeah.
Well, that is
and the French fishermen.
Right. Well, I wouldn't doubt it for a moment, Steve.
Because it says also about the swimmers contracting bugs, and it said include Castro in tonight.
Do not go into any body of water that is not surrounded by tiles. That is excellent advice, I think you'll find. Steve, why do you like mackerel? Nobody likes mackerel in this country.
I just do. I don't like cod.
How can you say... That is unpatriotic to even think that. Never mind about say it out loud. How can you say you don't like cod? Cod doesn't taste of anything.
That's why. But I'm not keen on things, like what shellfish, that type of thing.
Oh.
It's all too fishy for me.
Bottom feeders.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Bottom feeders. Yeah, you don't want bottom feeders.
Because you are what you eat, they say.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And that's why I've stopped.
How about haddock? Because haddock tastes like cod in that it doesn't taste of anything, but haddock is not one of them bottom feeders, is it?
Well, no. I actually like haddock too. I would rather haddock than cod.
Right, but that makes no sense. I know people that say the exact same thing, but you would not be able to tell the difference between cod and haddock if it was presented to you. You just wouldn't. They're both white. They don't taste of anything.
They do.
Oh, well, I got that wrong then.
They do, it depends how you cook it.
Well, it depends if you cook it in sauce. If you cover it in an unctuous sauce, then it tastes of whatever the sauce tastes of.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right. Just stop eating mackerel. Mackerel is French food. You don't want to eat what French people eat. Otherwise, then you'll become French.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being there. Appreciate it, Steve.
Thank you.
Very, very polite caller. See? It's a lesson to you all. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Some nobody. So they opened their big mouths, and out came talk. Talk.
Amanda emails, I vote Mike for PM. He speaks so much sense, says Amanda. Well, if only I could remember what he said. Brian tweets, you can tell it's Friday night. Many people have had too many sherbets before coming on the station to defend Fishy and Russ.
Booze.
And DV says, do I have to do spelling wrong to get you to read out my texts? No. You can have you can do grammar wrong, and I'll read it out then, if that's any help. Pimlico, Alex.
Hi Nick, how are you?
Good, thanks.
You know, I'm absolutely over the moon. Finally, this clown called Boris is going to live basically down the street. Finally. You know, because I'm really disappointed the people who do support him is, he's a great prime minister. He's one of the worst and corrupt, incompetent human being ever Britain got it. For example,
put one foot in front of the other, yeah.
No, honestly, because, I can't believe the people, always complaining about, say, is everything go up? He's the person who's let's back control. You remember Brexit means Brexit?
Alex,
now,
people have, it's not politics anymore. People have joined a cult. Forget them. Yeah, they're never coming back.
Yeah, everything too expensive. And National Health Service is lack of staff. Because everybody, is all appointment basically dismissed because we don't have enough nurses, staff, even National Service. Mm-hmm. Private water companies make a high profit and at the same time polluting water, investing millions of litres of water. You know what I'm saying? Completely chaos.
But apart from that...
some people say he's a great prime minister.
Like I said, they've joined a cult. It's not real life to them anymore. They have joined a cult. They are not coming back. Don't wait for them to rejoin real life.
I always believe that. He's one of the worst prime minister ever.
Worst prime minister ever.
Ever in Britain have.
Yeah.
But he could be one of the greatest circus man in Britain.
Well, I'm not sure.
If he's opening a circus, I will buy tickets for me, and one for me, one for you.
Right. Well, I'm busy that night, unfortunately, Alex, but I do appreciate the offer. Yeah, the NHS, safe in their hands, yes?
No.
The number of posts lying vacant across the NHS in England has reached a record high. The number of posts lying vacant reached a record high in the NHS. It's about 10% of its workforce, 132,139. 132,139 vacancies in the NHS. The number at the end of June, 105,000. So it's gone up, 22,000 in a couple of months. I am stunned. NHS leaders said the huge number of empty posts showed why the health service is in a state of deepening crisis, with patients facing long waits for almost every type of care. The previous highest number of vacancies for full-time equivalent staff was 111,864. That was at the end of June 2019. So after 2 years of Bodger Johnson's saying that the NHS is safe in his hands, it's in an even worse state than when he arrived. Saffron Cordery, the interim chief executive of NHS Providers, which represents all health service trusts in England, said, "Today's vacancy figures are staggering. and further proof that the NHS simply doesn't have enough staff to deliver everything being asked of it. She said, with nearly 1 in 10 posts in trusts in England now vacant and tens of thousands more right across the health and care system, many staff faced unsustainable workloads and burnout. But how's the NHS going apart from that? You know, is it, as David Cameron once said, still safe in the Conservatives' hands? Well, I think the jury's in on that one. Danny Mortimer, the chief executive of NHS Employers, said these figures paint a bleak picture. A jump in nearly 30,000 staff vacancies, equivalent to the entire staffing of a large NHS hospital, show an alarming trend across the NHS of rising levels of vacancies. And this, by the way, that 132-odd thousand, that includes vacancies for 46,828 nurses. The highest on record. How's Boris Johnson's pledge for 50,000 more nurses going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Pat Cullen, the acting General Secretary of the Royal College of Nursing, said, 2 weeks before we open our strike ballot, these stark figures reveal what's happening in England's NHS. Record numbers of unfulfilled nurses, unfilled nurses' jobs, and rising too. Tens of thousands of experienced nurses left last year at the very moment we can't afford to lose a single professional, and patients pay a heavy price. Yeah, patients are paying a heavy price because they've got to go private. There were 10,000 vacancies for doctors at the end of June. That's a 7.3% vacancy rate. Wow. It's amazing. And people are suggesting that the Conservative Party are deliberately running down the NHS in order for its eventual privatisation. Well, they ain't got nothing left to privatise. They privatised everything. They even privatised our water.
What?
What kind of a stupid country privatises its water? Just us. On Earth, only us. Wow, so 10% of the jobs in the NHS are currently vacant. Gosh, I wonder why. Is there a word beginning with B that might explain at least some, if not the majority, of those vacancies? A word beginning with B. Can you think of one? Think. Meanwhile, a spokesman for the Department of Health and Social Care said the overall number... You'll love this. This is the reason that they're giving for there being a large number of empty posts in the NHS. Have you heard this? Get ready. Said the spokesmodel for the Department of Health and Social Care said the overall number of posts is increasing as we expand services to bust the COVID backlogs and provide the best possible care to patients. That's why there are so many vacancies, because they've created more jobs. You getting that? There's only that number of vacancies because they have created a large number of jobs that they're now trying to fill. That's why there's a lot of vacancies. Not because they just don't have the staff anymore, because of perhaps the B word. It's because they're doing such a great job that they've increased the number of NHS jobs that they're now trying to fill. Which sounds a lot like, don't question us, peasant. I mean, wow, that's like a record-breaking excuse, that is. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have thought that they'd have the nerve to come up with that one. But every day in every way, they're getting better and better, yes?
No.
James says, one of the two will be the next PM, but I would much rather it was Jemima Puddleduck. Hands in the air for Jemima Puddleduck. Wins in a landslide. Ellie texts, how is Larry the cat? Next week it'll be his fourth boss. Totally confusing for a feline. Well, that cat's seen it all. I bet that cat spends most of its day just in the corner staring at the wall, thinking, oh, I can't stand this anymore. I'm going to pee in its shoes. That's what it's thinking. B text, what's Vlad the lad gone and done now that you say he's declared war on the world? It's the USA that shut down Nord Stream 2, wasn't it? Says B. Very much on top of the news there, B. Exeter. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Oh, my God. I'm always exceptionally nervous when I get through to you.
Well, would it help if I say, get on with it?
Yeah. Sorry, you got me there. I was thinking about the sunny uplands, the Brexit benefit.
The sunny uplands. There'll be a hoving interview any moment now. Just you wait.
Absolutely. And I am sometimes, or you have sometimes accused me of being a caller with material. But I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do that this evening. Don't worry. But Rees Mogg, right? It's his job, isn't it, to find Brexit benefit?
It's his job to know something.
I don't know anything.
Still doesn't know anything.
He's better informed than you are.
He is.
But anyway, I read something in the media a couple of weeks ago, and it struck me that it is the first Brexit benefit. They were talking about people will have to use reusable toilet paper.
No. There's no such thing. Reusable toilet paper. What on earth does that mean?
Well, apparently it's a thing.
It's not a thing. What, you mean people use it and then pass it on like pass the parcel?
Apparently it's for your sunny downlands.
Right.
I don't know how it works, but it was in the media, so it must be true.
Seriously doubt
in the Daily
that.
Mail.
No, I think what you're describing, perhaps you're misremembering, is that what they're actually saying is that we're going to be drinking toilet water.
Disgusting.
See, a lot of people spray toilet water on them, which never sounded like a great idea to me, but, people spend a lot of money on that.
Oh, my God.
To spray toilet water on themselves, where you could get it for free at home. I don't know why you would go into a shop and spend, like a vast fortune on pre-packaged toilet water, because plenty is available in your home.
Why would anyone go and do that when they can swim in the beach off Bournemouth?
Well, exactly right. Yeah, well, all right. Well done, that man. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Phil says, if you want to save money, put a brick in your kettle. It works in my toilet and petrol tank, says Phil. In your petrol tank? Dell says, Les Truss is not as silly as people think. She is special. I think Richard Sunak is going to be a great replacement for Boris Johnson. He was good, says Dell. Says Dell. Right, like you're writing a Jack and Jill book there, Dell. He was good. Excellent sentence. Did you think about that one yourself? Joan says, who is actually the Prime Minister of this country right now? Just wondering. Any thoughts, Bodge? Not really. He'll get back to you. He's on an extended vacation. It's like he's ticking off his bucket list. Do you want to go and along with the police for a raid in a drug den? He's never been so excited. Lincoln, Elliot.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Okay, I totally agree with pretty much everything you've been saying, and I just want to quickly talk about the NHS because I've moved to Lincoln to do paramedic science at uni, and I'm really looking forward to being a paramedic. I can't wait to be on the front line of the NHS, but I'm also very much aware of the fact that it is falling on its knees, and it's heartbreaking because the people that have to deal with the consequences of that are the patients. There are literally patients dying of cardiac arrest waiting for an ambulance 8 or 9 plus hours because they just aren't enough of them. And a little bit of inside info that I can give you is that at least at Lincoln University, there were actually only 25 places on the course and over 600 applicants. And that's just one uni. Most universities have only got about 40 places, some even fewer than that, including Lincoln. So hundreds of people really want to do it. All these people really passionate about helping people, but there's only 25 places, which means as far as qualifying new paramedics, it's really hard. And it's just kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy with you have to have qualified paramedics to teach the new ones, for them to be qualified to then teach the new ones, and so on and so on. And so you're just fighting this constant losing battle. And I just think, well, don't vote Tory. That's the simple answer to that one. Just don't vote Tory, because the NHS is on its knees, and I'm both really excited about my career, but I'm also terrified.
Yeah, I would be terrified in your position too. I hope that you've got somebody riding shotgun, literally. It's a jungle out there, Elliot, especially in Lincoln. Watch where you go. All right, thanks a lot, mate. Don't sit on the fence. Tell us which party you think that we should be voting for. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, boys.
0345 6060 973. Debbie emails, what I want to know is, if this country is running okay, as it has been, without a leader, then do we really need a Prime Minister? Excellent question there, Debbie. Everything seems to be going just fine. Half of the cabinet is on jolly holidays, and the other half is playing laser tag. Because, that's the thing for a grown-up to do. I am stunned. And the current Prime Minister is playing dress up, which is his favourite game. Woolwich, hello, Richard.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Richard.
Hello there. This is a great show. It's making me laugh so much. But I wanted to carry on with this idea of this Minister of Brexit Opportunities, because he's been in the news again this week, as you probably know, which is about he's finally banned 250 of his departmental programs, which he's termed wokery programs.
Yeah,
and it just made me think of you with this kind of agenda that he's got about just completely going with that woke initiative, that woke program.
Yeah. This will be the only thing that they will have left to try to persuade us to vote for them again come the next general election, is to kid on that there's this, that half of the country wants to take over the other half of the country and steeple them in a vat of wokeness. Yeah.
But the thing I find peculiar, I was just kind of scrolling through those programs, and I don't see what's so offensive about them, because one I see here is leading without authority. What's so offensive about that?
Leading without authority?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I think that means that how can you influence the system or people without being a formal leader? I find that perfectly interesting, and a sort of program I think I'd like to attend. I don't know. I don't understand where you would just look at that and think wokery, ban it. That's the bit. That's the kind of the mind game of his that I can't get into.
Richard, your big mistake was to use a word in the sentence that you've just uttered, and then the word that you misused there was think. There is no thinking involved here. It's all about gestures, and him coming down on woke is him pretending to be concerned with saving the British taxpayer money. Well, if they were concerned about saving us money, then maybe a good start might not have been to spend £36 billion on a test and trace system that doesn't work. Might have been a good start.
Absolutely, and completely. And you know what? Just sort of finally, because in the same kind of articles, I just read that something that the speculation, but they're saying that he could be made the levelling up minister.
Isn't he? I thought he already was.
I think.
Oh no, he's the Brexit Opportunities Minister, right?
But levelling up and Rees-Mogg.
Yes.
These things just do not go together, right?
They're gaslighting you. They are just they're trying to get a reaction. They're trying to get a rise out of you so that you'll be angry at something other than them.
Well, I am angry. I get angry. all the time. I have to go into the garden because my wife doesn't want me in the house when
you go into the garden and sit there like a gnome.
Exactly.
She'd give you a fishing rod and a hat. All right, well, good work there, Richard. As soon as you catch something, you let me know straight away, as long as it's not a mackerel. Ugh.
Disgusting.
We don't eat those. No thanks. 0345 6060 973. He has to go in the garden. Not literally go, but, you know. He has to depart the house and sit in the garden for a little while to think about what he's done. Only then will the wife let him back in the house. Gengiricon tweets, was it worth spending that much money on wallpaper for such a short stay? Only 3 sleeps until we find out which unspeakable abomination is moving in. Oh, that's back to where we started. I couldn't understand what they meant by only 3 sleeps until payday or whatever it was they said. That's what the 3 sleeps are, right. Because when somebody says only 3 sleeps till, my immediate thought is Christmas, Jesus' birthday. But it's not Christmas. It's the opposite of that. We're not getting a present. Even though we've been very, very good. 0345 6060 973. Nottingham. Hello, Sally.
Hello, Nick.
Sally.
You're making me laugh. But I've got a good story to tell, which the last but one caller might like to hear.
Okay, then. Would anybody else like to hear it?
I'm 86.
86 years old.
Yes, 86 years young. If I make it to December,
right.
I'm 87.
87 years young.
No, there's been a lot of ill health in our family. My 2 sons have died, and my husband then got Parkinson's. But I had a fall in the bedroom. I knocked the television over, and for once I couldn't move. Usually I can, if I fall, I can work it out.
Yeah.
But I've got an emergency band. The ambulance came, checked me over, took me to hospital,
right.
And I had the most brilliant treatment. A young doctor came and assessed me, and had obviously written a load of tests that I had to have.
Yeah.
And, I was moved around so quickly.
Right.
But they were all so polite and caring.
Oh, caring? Well, in a hospital?
I just wanted to put in that there is a good side. I don't think anybody's ever bothered to say if they've had a good experience.
Oh, they say it all right. Don't you worry about that, Sally. What you're telling us is that the health service worked as it was supposed to.
Absolutely. And
Right.
So you could say I've got good experience. Because I used the doctor, when the second son was growing up better,
acted like a doctor.
Well, no, he asked if Norman and I would be prepared to be foster parents. Because so often, if it was diagnosed, the father would be panicky at what was then a new disease. I'm going back years, obviously. But we said yes, and we had the babies for about a week.
Okay, but Sally, what you're describing to me is a health service running as it is supposed to. What is informative about that, about you calling up to tell me about it, is that people are still somewhat surprised when the NHS does what it's supposed to do, to the point that they call in a radio station and tell them about their experience, which tells me everything you need to know about a hospital, about the NHS in general, that people find it so extraordinary that they need to call in a radio station to say, well, everything went perfectly well with me, as though it's some sort of miracle that's happened to them. It's what it's supposed to do. It ain't cheap. It's something like I forget exactly what it is, so I'll just make it up. It's £150 billion a year. Something like, not million, billion. £150 billion a year. I bet I'm not too far out. But it's so extraordinary when something actually works as it's supposed to that people feel inclined to share it with others, as though they just won the lottery. But I appreciate the call there, Sally, and I'm glad that you got treated straight away, like you're supposed to. I mean, that just tells me everything I need to know. Every time the NHS comes up, which is, of course, every blooming week on the radio, then you do get people calling in and saying, usually after about 5 or 10 calls of people saying, well, I got stuck in accident and emergency for 6 weeks, to the point that my bottom actually fused to that hard plastic chair, which was a problem I did not have when I came in. But they had to cut it off me. Stories like that. We called for an ambulance on Tuesday and it came in August. Those kind of things. And then people phone up to defend the NHS saying, wow, I got seen within 6 months. And they gave me the pills and it all cleared up. As though by magic, as though it's some sort of mystical thing that the NHS is to actually do what it's supposed to do. But they ain't going to be running on that, the Tories, at the next general election. They're not going to be running on their safe stewardship of the NHS. So all they'll have is the war on woke, which is back to where we were talking about before, about J.R. Smug.
I don't know anything.
Doesn't know anything. But he knows that he can fire up enough people with a war on woke, this folk war that they've got going on. Just enough people to probably give him another term in office. And I betcha that that's exactly what they're going to do. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Gosh, look at the time. Doesn't it fly when you're out your mind?
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Shut up.
I can't. Alex texts, what's your view on Pretty Useless Patel? What's my view? I think she's like a comedy cartoon caricature of Cruella de Vil. With all the sort of the lip-smacking evilness of a Cruella de Vil. That's what I think. Mike texts, Bodger can use his new kettle to steam off the wallpaper and take it with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he just refused to leave. Does a Trump. Paul texts, thank goodness we have seen the back of a PM pretending to be someone else, who tells people that what they want to hear and who points at large portions of humanity to blame for stuff. Yeah, thank goodness we're not going to have anything like that anymore. Kath texts, if you buy a bottle of toilet water for £20, it'll save you £10 off your water bill. Well, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. Let's have Luton. Chris.
Hi, Nick. I wanted to talk about the way the Conservatives have basically destroyed drug treatment services. They came in...
Oh, my God. They've destroyed what now?
Drug treatment services. They basically just came in and dismantled all the harm reduction services, which were, we were seeing addicts getting older, which is, an indicator that you're sort of winning it. Less young people sort of going on to Class A's. And they just came in and Ian Duncan Smith willfully destroyed it, brought in what they call recovery type agencies, where they put lots of barriers in the way of people getting treatment. And people just don't understand the impact it's had on our communities. And, the amount of crime that's being undertaken, businesses affected, it's just incredible, in public health terms, in everything. And I mean, it's... I don't know. Luton's like a war zone now.
Luton is like a war zone.
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, Well,
is that what Ukraine would say if Volodymyr Zelensky came to Luton? He'd be like, "Oh my God, get me out of here, back to the safety of Zaporizhia."
Well, yeah, I mean, he's certainly come across a lot of people begging that aren't actually homeless.
Just wait, Chris. Just wait till this winter. If you think there's a lot of homeless people at the moment, just wait.
Well, yeah, I mean, not because of their heroin and crack use, I wouldn't imagine, simply because they just can't afford the bills.
Correct,
yeah. It's, as I say, people just look at it and think they shrug their shoulders and go, oh, and they don't really care particularly about...
Well, it's worse than that. It's not that they don't care, it's that they can't... they're trying to convince themselves that under no circumstances could they themselves become one of those people that are sitting there in a shop doorway with all of their possessions, because that's what we're like. We can't conceive of the circumstance in which we would become one of those people, but we could all become one of those people with 1 or 2 bits of bad luck, and there we'd be. You lose your job. Most people in this country don't have enough cash set by to last a month, let alone about 6 months, which it might take you to find another job, or 2 months anyway. You'll be out in your ear inside weeks. And of course the government is going to make it easier for landlords to chuck you out of your house if you can't afford to pay your bills. Because of course they will. Of course they will. All right, thanks a lot, Chris. Try not to get dragged down by, everything. But it's getting harder and harder. Susan texts, you resemble more of a cool Bruce Thomas. Brackets bassist. Who's Bruce Thomas? Brackets bassist. I'm going to have to look. I think this is in relation to something that I said hours ago, or somebody texted in. Bruce Thomas. Who's Bruce Thomas? Looking up for you while you wait. Bruce Thomas. Bassist, it says. English rock bassist, best known as the bassist for The Attractions. Oh, as in Elvis Costello. That guy. Well, how am I supposed to know who Bruce Thomas is? I mean, he's not exactly a household name, is he? Martin tweets, forget the hotels in Brighton, just go and visit your parents for a few weeks. They'll love it and it'll save you money. You mean my parents or your parents? Or one's parents? Nicholas emails, did you see the clip where the Liz bot condemned her own statement in the Parliament? No. No, I didn't. Any thoughts, Liz?
That is a disgrace.
She is a disgrace, says Liz Bott. How many have I got? I cannot get through these fast enough. Stop sending me messages. I mean it. This is still the loudest computer mouse in the history of IT. Griff texts, on my dinner break I had a pleasant surprise. A pleasant surprise? I was just getting into my book, says Griff, and then I heard from the screen, emergency, emergency, everyone to get from street. It was your clip from the film The Russians Are Coming, and it sounded like a young Borat who was saying it, and it made me wonder if Sacha Baron Cohen saw this and nicked it from them. After all, who would remember a film from 1966? What do you think? Who would remember a film from 1966? Boatloads of people would remember a film from 1966. Because you might have seen it yesterday. In which case, for you, it will be a film from 2022. Well, why was Sacha Baron Cohen saying everybody to get from street while you were trying to read a book? That's very, very confusing, Griff. I don't think you know what you're talking about. Sharon says, how many times have you descaled your kettle in the past year? 0. Is that bad? Well, it's not really bad, is it? I mean, scale in your kettle is just lime scale, isn't it? I mean, it's not dirty, is it? I mean, cleaning your kettle doesn't really need cleaning because it's full of boiling water all the time. I mean, what kind of germs can survive boiling water? Get that space hippie on the phone and he'll explain everything. You know, the one that looks into space. Oh, look at the stars. They're amazing. That guy. He's bound to know all about this. Or if he doesn't, he'll know somebody who does. He's not picking up? Keep trying. Yonoa tweets, I wonder if there's a correlation between the quality of the Norwegian Christmas tree and the recent choices of Foreign Secretary. Yeah, maybe it was like a commentary from the Norwegians. They're pranking us. Currently down to Truss, says Yonoa. Not sure if there's much left to dredge out of this Conservative Party slurry. Well, apparently the last two are the best of them. Alarming, no?
Yes.
That kind of is. I mean, it really is. Oh, my God. I can't take any of those three calls. I can't take those people. Somebody else, somebody a bit brighter. I mean, I've got three people who want to talk absolute undiluted misery at me, and that's not what this show is. Somebody else, somebody who wants to talk about the weather or, something a little bit brighter and lighter to end the show on. Don't make me crack the whip. Matthew says, you see, if either of these jokes get into number 10, he/she won't be democratically elected. Doesn't it mean that they are obliged to hold a snap general election? No. And furthermore...
No.
No, because that's the way that democracy works in this country. It doesn't. I mean, it specifically does not work. It's not. This is not a democratic country. We pretend that we are, but we ain't. If it was true democracy, then 54% of the population that went out to vote would not have their votes completely ignored. That ain't democracy. It's something other than that. I've got no idea what you call it. It's not it's like a kleptocracy, really. Not a government, it's a smash and grab raid, as I have explained many times. Jamie texts, Rishi is too left-wing. Wow. Rishi Sunak is too left-wing for you, Jamie? And that is why he has not been elected as leader of the Tory party, says Jamie. Also, eat out to help out was a terrible idea. Yeah, but on the flip side, we did get 10 quid off a restaurant meal. So there is that. But it was a pretty bad idea, yeah. Stay in, don't go out. Don't commune with anybody in any way, shape or form. Plus, here's a cheap meal. Go pack into a restaurant somewhere. Have you been to a restaurant recently and noticed that the staff has changed? As I have. I've been to 4 restaurants just recently because it was my birthday. So I treated myself because I'm worth it. And the people running restaurants now aren't the same people that were running restaurants a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, a couple of 3-4 years ago. They are totally different. It's as though they've never done the job before. Principally, I guess, because they've never done the job before. This is the squeakiest chair that I've ever sat in a radio studio. I cannot move an inch without it making some sort of noise like a door is closing in a haunted house. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Darren tweets, can we look forward to you doing your shows in the dark again in the near future? Somebody sent me a torch for my birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to, because of the post office strike, things for my birthday are still coming in. So I appreciate each and every one of them. Stu texts, care homes are going to close due to energy costs and social care has collapsed. So all of those old people will be homeless and left to die. But it won't be all bad, as we can always... You're not going to like it. Grip onto something firm. It's just a joke. Keep that in mind. Stu says it won't be all bad, as we can always set them on fire to keep us warm. Well, that's just a true fact. And if you're trying to start a fire, by the way, and you've run out of matches, simply rub 2 old people together. That's an old Scouts trick. Maidstone, Kieran.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick call because you said you wanted something quite quite funny to sort of like end the show on. And
well, to be clear, though, I'm not looking for material. I'm just looking for somebody who doesn't want to talk about misery and death.
Oh, days. Even though me and my missus were looking at what our energy bills would be sort of like next April.
Yeah.
So I know. So
nothing funny about it.
Nothing funny about it at all. But listening to some footage of the hustings, like the last hustings, and I couldn't believe what I was listening to. In the fact that when Liz Truss was asked, can you guarantee that you would not be able to, you won't have to ration energy?
Yeah.
This winter, she says no, and then everyone in the crowd starts whooping and cheering.
Now wait a minute, I think you got that wrong. She said the question was, can you guarantee that you won't have to ration energy? And she said no, but that means that she can't guarantee it. But I think it's the opposite.
She said yes. Okay, yes. So she can guarantee that she won't ration energy.
Yeah.
And then everyone starts cheering.
Yeah.
Then any mention of Boris's name, everyone starts cheering. And then the one thing I couldn't understand was the fact that she was saying, correct me if I'm wrong, she was saying that she would like to get rid of speed limits on motorways. And everyone starts cheering, and it's just like, are we just living in a complete and utter alternative universe? It's just like it's just absolutely crazy. And then the next day, the Daily Express, on the front cover of the Daily Express, we've got the cost of living crisis going everywhere. People on their knees, and all they want to say to try and divert our attention is Liz Truss would like to get rid of speed limits on motorways. That's what I wanted to say. That is literally what I wanted to say. It was.
I know, you're holding your head in your hands and you can't believe it. But trust me, Kieran, this is real life. You are not hallucinating, if that's any help. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kieran. Yeah. Yeah, speed limits on motorways. That'll distract us for about 10 seconds, Liz. What else you got? Going to have to find a bigger distraction bomb than that. Speed limits on motorways. Do me a favour. There aren't any speed limits on motorways. The only motorway that's got an actual speed limit on it is the M25, because about every 3 yards you've got one of them, like a gantry with one of them cameras on it. What a picture, what a photograph. The only other motorways that got speed limits on them are the average speed camera ones that they put up where they've placed cones in the road. You know, there's about 1 million cones in the road that are reduced to 3 lanes to 1 for your convenience, and no work person is ever spotted there, ever. You can go past miles and miles and miles of these carefully positioned cones in which you are monitored for your average speed. There's the only areas of a motorway that people actually stick to the speed. And the speed is usually 50 miles an hour, which is a very, very dull speed to be driving at. Boring! After about 10 minutes, it feels like you could get out and walk that fast. 50 miles an hour. That's what it says on the average speed camera signs. Because, they're protecting the workers that aren't there. And you can't do 49 miles an hour on such a stretch of motorway. You have to do 50, and I mean exactly 50. Not 48, not 49. Because if you do 49 miles an hour on one of those 50 mile an hour average speed camera areas, then the person behind you will want to kill you. And they'll make a pretty good effort of doing just that. They'll want to run you off the road and then rip your arms off and beat you to death with your own limbs. Dave texts, as a cheese importer and pork exporter, I'm very glad that Liz Truss will be our new PM. I'm celebrating with a new kettle, says Dave. Living the high life. James says, easy question on how on earth our PMs provide statesmanship against Putin. The UK has lost the plot. Yeah, we do seem to have lost the plot, really. I mean, we're sort of rubbing along and pretending that everything's normal. Nothing is normal anymore. This is not how a normal country is normally run. This is not even how this country is normally run. We're better than this. And I know that we're better than this because we've been better than this for a considerable part of my life. But, I mean, this guy...
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Followed by this one.
We have never had it so good.
I mean, you've got to be kidding me, right? Is the circus in town? Huntingdon. Curtis. Curtis. Too late. Well, you got to be strict. Got to be very, very strict with them. Otherwise, they don't get the message. Sheffield, Tony.
Hello.
Tony.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
A National Health Service hospital in Swansea got linked up to a solar power farm.
A solar panel farm?
Yep. That was 2 miles away from them. Last winter.
Yeah.
They were saving £10,000 a week.
In the winter?
Back then, yes. If you have a look on the ITV News...
I most certainly will do nothing of the sort, Tony.
Oh, the Guardian newspaper website.
No.
Right, they'll tell you that even during the dark winter months,
even then,
even back then, the hospital was saving £10,000 a week.
A week? Well, I am stunned, and Liz Truss cannot wait to shut that solar farm down, because that is what is ruining this once great nation. Solar panels. She's very much against them. She likes that fresh, delicious oil right out of the ground. And coal and, I don't know. I've got absolutely no idea. I mean, it's really difficult to understand where she's coming from or going to. But either way, she's going to get there using steam power. That's the future. Thanks a lot, Tony. Thanks for the good news. £10,000 a week solar power in the winter when there is no sun here. Let's have Belfast. Hello, Brendan.
Hello,
Brendan.
Thank you. I'd just like to say, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
No,
appreciate it.
No, I'm calling, so the last thank you has to be with the caller. That's the rule.
Right. Okay, then.
Okay.
Who's calling?
Yeah. It's Brendan. Thank you.
What number are you calling from?
Yes. Anyway.
Yes.
Here.
Is that an answer to that question?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. Who could argue with that?
Me.
You know what I mean?
I've got an argument.
There's nothing much to be said about that.
No. Well, that's right. Much as is the case with this call.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's easy for you to say.
Well, it's easy for you to think.
Exactly. So we're on the same page.
We're not even reading the same book, Brendan. But anyway, go on.
Pages weren't invented when we were communicating. Anyway, papyrus.
Time's running out faster than you know.
I know, but you've ruined my time. You've ruined it.
Oh, I see. It's my fault.
Yes. Can I just get it in? Pardon the expression.
What?
Listen, thanks for going to work. You're brilliant. For a guy that only works 9 hours a week, you're having a big impact. And I really, about Wednesday night, I'm so sad. I look forward to Friday. That's when I start looking forward to. Last item, see that chair you're sitting on? That's so squeaky and the worst chair you ever had. Yes, exactly. Exactamundo. That's because this is the first time you felt so uncomfortable and emotionally, psychologically, and emotionally with the world.
Well, that is a good point.
Yeah.
It's as though my bottom is actually speaking to me.
Exactamo. As it does every week to the rest of us.
What?
As it does every week to the rest of us.
Yeah, I didn't want you to repeat it. I'm expressing outrage.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
thanks a lot, Brendan. Your time is up. You have delighted us enough. Appreciate it. This show does get stuck up the internet as a podcast, by the way. It's called Nick Abbot, The Whole Show. You know, we take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. And when you get your fuel bill, you'll still have to set fire to your granny just to keep warm. That is government advice now, believe it or not. But, and it is a huge but, it's only, I think it might be the case now, but if not, then at least at most in a couple of weeks, it will only be available on Global Player. So forget wherever you get this podcast. It will, from either right now or very shortly, only be available on Global Player. It'll still be totally free, but it will be only to, exclusive to, is what I'm trying to say, Global Player. And you only get this level of wordsmithery on this podcast if you stick around. I don't know, because I'd have to go down 10 pages to find out who's on next, but I do know for certain that it's Clyde Ball right now. 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 Clyde Ball right now.